Hey YouTube, the reason why I'm doing this video, I was in here doing a Bible study, and we're starting to realize that the first beginning of the biblical Bible, that Adam and Eve and their descendants was in the process of enslavement. We're dealing with Adam and Eve being dumbfounded. We're dealing with so many different things that are taking place with Adam and Eve and with the first generation. But where I'm going to start off at is Genesis 6 1 through 5. Um, and it begins to say, when mankind began to multiply on the earth, and daughters were born to them, the sons of God, saw that the daughters of mankind were beautiful, and they took any they chose as wives for themselves. And the Lord said, my spirit will not remain with mankind forever because they are corrupt. Now, we're dealing with the sons of God. These people begin to take daughters of mankind. They begin to take daughters of mankind without our permission and said, I'm going to wife these women. Now, if you can recall, in slavery days in Africa, we were basically chained and removed from our place in Africa and our villages in Africa. Um, and we were taken into enslavement. This is pretty much the same thing as that. Only difference is the sons of God is doing this. Now, what amazes me is that it says, and the Lord said, my spirit will not remain with mankind forever because they are corrupt. What corrupted them? What really corrupted them? What made them the way that they were? Was it the abuse that they were sustaining? Because you have Lamech talks about my son Noah will finally free us from this burden and this labor that we have. He talks about Noah and says Noah is their way out, which was prophecy given that Noah would free them from that. And he talks about that. But the biggest problem is he says mankind is corrupt because of wrongdoings of other people in authority. You can corrupt a nation. Because of your abusive and negative behaviors, you can corrupt a nation. But this extended far beyond that because we have the sons of God with that's out of order. And they took daughters. Your daughter can be working in the field. Oh, she's pretty. I'm going to marry her and just grab her. And this is part of the reason why we go into the New Testament. In the New Testament, they begin to tell the young women, please do not adorn yourself. Please do not appear too beautiful unto man. Don't appear too beautiful because your beauty is going to cause problems for you. So they were telling their women to make sure they cover up. A lot of times, a lot of people never knew that in the Muslim faith as well as the Christian faith, that your head is supposed to be covered. You're supposed to show as little of your facial features, as little of your beauty as possible. Because even in today's society, we have people that are corrupting our way of life by being takers. But the Bible said they took. Now, I got a question. Is God in agreement with his sons? Can't be. Because I know God could not have taught his sons to just take daughters from his creation. I don't care how they felt about it, but to just go and say, okay, well, I'm just going to take a life and not see nothing wrong with it. There had to be something wrong with it. There had to be something that God didn't agree with that. There had to be something that God didn't agree with that, because I refuse to believe that God would be okay with man or the sons of God just coming taking what they want. We even seen it in later on. You're gonna see it also in Genesis where they take a daughter of Jacob's and Jacob's sons them deal with them. You ain't gonna treat our sister like she's some whore. But Jacob knew when they did that they were descendants of the sons of God. So they felt like they were privileged enough to do that. And they weren't what they were supposed to be. Today we are living in an antebellum society. This extended back since biblical times, and their goals and their agendas is to dumbfound us. I cannot tell you. I went to go work on a job one time, and these people, um, they have policies in place. And I never tell people all the things that I go through on my journey through places. I remember I'm on this job and I'm turning around and I'm thinking everything's good, and I go through all out hell. I don't know if these people understand. I go through all out hell working for other people. I probably would go through all out hell working for myself as well, because the things about today's society is that they want a group of us docile and naive. And when they see us trying to forge our own way, they do everything that they can to stop it. We have to really become more aggressive in the forging of our own way, because I'm starting to see so much, and I can't even say it's a skin color, because a lot of times we sit up there, oh, I'm black, and there's some white people attacking us, and that's this and that's that. And I can't tell you whether painted black face or painted white face or painted brown face or whatever face paint that they use, yellow, blue, whatever, orange, whatever face paint used, that is more going on with that. We are in a time where people are talking about they're the sons of God and they're children of God, but their lifestyle says something totally different. It's not lining up with the will of God. I have never known a God that will allow you to rape a woman off unless it's a sinner's doing. But we're in a time where now we're dealing with our people being raped off. We're dealing with our daughters being taken and raped off. We're dealing with men that's supposed to be in a certain position, a certain status, and they act like peasants. And the reason why they act like peasants, because they weren't supposed to be in that position anyway. They act like peasants because they're so quick to try to enslave somebody. You have a lesser mind and thought process than others. Because I started to realize real people that is of a real mindset, they're usually the type that is for the advancement of their people, no matter what color. Because I started this color thing. I'm going to be real with you. This color thing started to bother me a while ago. I was younger. I was much younger, and it was you black this and you're African that and all this different stuff. I see myself as a person. I see myself as a person, a human being, a man, of female origins. I see myself as a person. I don't see myself as something black. Oh, she's black because I started to realize that I was not black. And I don't see myself as white, so I was not white. I was just a person. I'm just is. And it's so hard to get people to understand that. I can't even say I'm African American because, to be totally honest with you, my people that could have been African American had been over in America for so long. I don't even know how to actually understand the traditions of an African person or their ways. So, how can I be relevant to African and I'm in America? I'm just American. I'm sorry, I don't know the culture other than America. It's not that I'm not for my people. I understand that we originated probably from there, but I have to tell you the truth. My roots are Jamaican. Yes. And even Jamaicans were enslaved. A lot of us, our roots are in other cultures. We talk about Port-au-Prince. Port-au-Prince was in Africa, but at the same time, you have the women king who did their shooting in Haiti. And a lot of people aren't talking about that either in Port-au-Prince, but you want to put it back to Africa. We're dealing with the fact that all our continents have dealt with some war on slavery, and we're dealing with the docile part of our lifestyle where we're so docile or unable to say that we have been enslaved and forced to be docile. I remember one time with my son that I was teaching him in school. I would teach him before he go to school. I would teach him how to spell and do certain stuff, and he would come home from school dumber than he went to school. He would come from school, honestly. And I was sending him to the school. And I'm like, you're supposed to be getting smarter. I'm sending you to school. I done taught you everything at home. And he was going to school and he came home more docile. And what we're forgetting is that we're now facing a fight with mankind because mankind so much wants to be gods. And I'm not going to even say mankind. I'm gonna call them the sons of God because you are the children of God because you say that you are a part of God. But at the same time, your lifestyle isn't in accordance with God. How many wives is a man allowed to have? We have these people praising Solomon, and Solomon had how many concubines? How many wives? And he's talking about he's up fighting against demonic spirits. To be totally honest with you, the demons have already taken us over. And are not demons considered the sons of God and God's creation? They have already taken us over. And how they're taking us over, they want us docile. I can't tell you. I want to work this job, man. I'm telling you, I wanted the job because I seen multiple opportunities. I seen multiple chances for my advancement. I cannot tell you within the first couple of days, I started to find myself going docile. Docile. I'm starting to lose control. I'm starting to go out of it. I'm starting to grow docile. This can't be a place of God. This can't be where God wants us to be. And when you're on these jobs, a lot of times you're not even going docile. They're taking money from you. Your money's never adding up. Every time you cash a check, you're like, man, this check ain't adding up. This check ain't making sense, man. Money missing somewhere. And you keep saying it, you keep redoing the calculations. For some weird reason, the calculation's saying one thing, but you looking at it and you saying this is not adding up. And you're under attack just for working nowadays. But a man that don't work don't eat. And if you don't labor to have something, even if God gives you millions and millions of dollars, if you do not labor or sow seeds with this talent that is given to you, there is nothing for you to inherit because you squandered and waste your inheritance. Nowadays, we are enslaved to a society that wants us with nothing. And they have done everything that they possibly can to continue to keep us with nothing. They have attacked the communication systems. So there is no calling out. There's no calling out. Every opportunity you get, either somebody else is approving it to go through, or else you won't get it. You could put in a million applications and not receive one phone call. Because what's happening is we have a group of people trying to take control over the people of God and place them in a docile, enslaved environment. Our communication systems been tampered with. You can't even call 911 without clearance. They pick up the phone first and see if they want to patch you through the 911. We are dealing with a society that is way more going on than what other people think it is. We're dealing with a society where, like I said, the communication systems, you're making phone calls, people trying to call you and give you opportunity. I remember one job I set up there, I was supposed to work for a company called Found Care. And they had been here in the community for years and years and years and years. And a friend of mine was there. She was opening the door for that opportunity for me to get there because she was dating my brother and she was opening up the opportunity for me to get there. And she's like, how you gonna tell them people you don't need a job? I say, what? I don't need a job. Do you not see me struggling? Why would I tell them that? And she said, the people said they called you and you said you already had a job. You didn't need a job. I say, what I ever told them that? This is telling you that a lot of the communication isn't getting to you. We got a government, the U.S. Treasury. We going through so many different pandemics and issues that the government's been issuing out money constantly. I can't tell you how many times I had to call the United States Postal Service inspector's office, but guess who I'm talking to? I'm talking to the same people that's taking the money out of the inspector's office, and they're screaming, "Oh, ain't nothing going on." I can't tell you how many times I called the IRS. What's going on? There's nothing going on. So all this stuff is habitualized because they have gained control over the communication system. Oh, and if you go in person, I can't tell you that everything is simulated because we're dealing with a matriarch system to make you submissive and enslave you to them. We've been dealing with an enslaved system. Sometimes some of us are enslaved centuries and centuries ahead of the time before they realize and they want to wake you up to the fact, yeah, we enslaved you. You pretty much under us. You're gonna have to do what we say do, or else. You're never gonna have. You're never gonna watch them. I never realized why the homeless was homeless and why people didn't have, because I'm like, okay, all these job opportunities, all this, all that. And I'm gonna tell you something. I started to realize even if I had to go in person, my eyesight can be gouged out of me and I can be told no. I can go completely blind and be told no. And this is not something that is secretive and that has been hidden. This is something that has been taken. Now we're dealing with the sons of God taking daughters. And that's still going on today. Who are you to take our daughters and rape our daughters off? Who are you? We don't care if you've been here since the beginning of the creation of time. We don't care about that. You need to have respect. Because some of y'all have been forever. But guess what? When this began to happen, the people became docile and grew corrupt. The enslavement corrupted them and made them docile. And I remember Jesus also saying in the New Testament, they don't know what they're doing. They don't even know it's me. They're fighting against me and not even knowing it's me. We're dealing with so many epidemics that's taking place. And the reason why these epidemics were allowed to take place because we weren't allowed to leave or escape. Because I mean, you can give a person an escape, but doesn't mean that they're free at all. Because when you're bound mentally, we're dealing with mental bondage. We're dealing with mental bondage. When I started researching demonic possession, I started watching documentaries on demonic possession. I'm starting to see people that's supposed to be exorcising the demons, but was the one that put them there. But some weren't even gifted with that. God was giving messages, Lord. Thank God for that. He was giving messages. But here we got the people who's supposed to be the children of God, supposed to be exercising out the demon. Y'all was conjuring them up, putting them in there. But you was bored. But you was tired. Cause psychologically, I saw that you were tired. What, you was tired of the peace? You got tired of tranquility? What went on? It was too humble for you. You needed something to do. Because the corruption is caused by the enslavement of the people without probable cause. And I'm going to extend it farther because in this book it sits up there and he says, my spirit will not remain with mankind forever because they are corrupt. Their days are will their days will be 120 years. The Nephilim were on the earth both in those days and afterward when the sons of God came to the daughters of mankind who born children to them. They were the powerful men of old, the famous men. So now we're realizing that the sons of God was there. They're having sex with women. These women are giving birth to children, and those children were powerful. They made sure their children had positions of authority, and they made sure their children was famous. Well, let me tell you what we're going through now. You see how it was switched on man? Man is constantly corrupt because they're fighting against darkness. Man has become corrupt because they have entered into docileness, because they're fighting their way out. Because to be totally honest with you, I remember a time when if you killed a man, because they wronged you, that you would go docile and complete evil would take over your body. Like you would no longer have control of your body because you took the life, and you would go into demonic possession. This is a setup of a system. This is a setup of a system because we got people constantly telling other people to do sinful things every day, whether it's on TV, radio, or wherever. We constantly have people telling people to do sinful things every day. Not one time did I see them try to correct that. Not one time did I see them even try to change that. Psychological parts. And then when you become a demonic possession, they're happy, they're rejoicing. I cannot understand this. I was threatened by people that raped me one time. And I've been threatened that when I report them, they're going to ensure that I end up incarcerated in their place. I'm thinking biblically, even in Genesis 6, when he says, my heart will not agree with mankind. Your sons is taking daughters of mankind, raping them off. If you for that, then you can't be our God. But we already knew that there was issues with God in Genesis. We already knew that there were issues with God. But when the confession of the issues, what really was taking place with God back in those days, came through Jesus. When Jesus sat up and he said, I liken heaven, which is earth. I liken heaven because God said, I'm building a paradise for you. I've been building paradises, and I've been building places for you to go. And I have been building places for you to reside, and earth being one of them. And there was darkness and upon the face of the deep, and God spoke to the darkness. God began to create that vineyard. God began to do certain things in that vineyard. But we really start to see the corruptness of man later on when we start going into Sodom and Gomorrah. Because they already took daughters. Now they feel like they can take whatever man they want to and sleep with them too. Because it was never corrected. The sin was never corrected. They were taking daughters. In Sodom and Gomorrah, they surrounded a house. These ain't even men. These are angels came into the city. They say, okay, we taking them too. They took them as wives too. Are we going to continue to let the corruption continue to go forth? But guess what? It's considered that mankind is corrupt. It's considered that we're the corrupt ones, but we're the one receiving the bondage. We're the ones who's been carrying the yoke and the burden. And God said, my yoke is easy and my burden is light. But at the same time, I'm going to be real with you. The moment I started to serve God and I ate from the tree of life, of good and evil, and started to serve God, my eyes became open and they were still closed. And I started to realize this God that I serve, man, it's a lot of stuff that I didn't know. I didn't know God was under attack. I didn't know his sons, the very ones that helped create the heavens and the earth, attack them and say, look, we're not giving you back this vineyard. The sons of man took earth over. We ain't getting you back this. Sons of God. Sons of God. Because the sons of God was, when we talk about the sons of God, and they said the sons of God was man. So mankind began to enslave their own people and take wives from their own people. Now, I got a question to ask. How can you consider a woman a wife? This is why Jacob's sons was mad. You treated my sister like she was a whore. But you asking for her hand in marriage so you can whore her out. Because remember in Sodom and Gomorrah how they surrounded the house and say they wanted to sleep with the man. I guess they was finna make those angels' wives too. We gotta be careful because we're dealing with so much stuff where it's twisted. Because I can't imagine God saying, okay, my heart will not always agree with man without probable cause. But it's a reason why his heart can't agree with man because of the fact that man's angry. Man's in bondage. Man's docile. How can we possibly please you when we're being forced to do corrupt stuff and stuff against you? How can we possibly bring forth fruit worthy of repentance when we ain't even able to repent ourselves because we dumbfounded? We really got to wake up to so much different stuff because when I'm starting to read the scriptures, man, these scriptures taking me through channels that I ain't never been through before because it's opening up in a whole different light. Like, sweetheart, God wasn't mad with y'all. He was mad with his own sons who helped him create this place. He was mad with them. Why are y'all sleeping with these women? Why are y'all doing what y'all doing? Why are y'all carrying on the way y'all carrying on? Why are y'all acting the way y'all acting? Y'all supposed to be the sons of God. Sons of God don't act like this. And as I'm saying this, I'm remembering arguments that's similar to it. And that's the sad part about it. As I'm saying it, I'm remembering arguments. I'm remembering people saying the same thing. Sons of God don't do this. Sodom and Gomorrah, a wicked city, corrupt. And it's corrupt because they took on what the sons of God was doing. Now we got the sons of God surrounding Lot's house. About to make some wives out these angels. We got to be careful. It's a lot going on in these seasons. Hopefully these words encourage you, give you wisdom and insight. Stay blessed. Stay free. Stay serving God. Take care.